Hey everybody, Stevie J from Glove Up or Shut Up with your Ultimate Fighter recap. This week we're going to see Neil Magny taking on Bristol Marunde in a quarterfinal bout, an all-Team Carwin affair, and in the other quarterfinal that will take place, we get to see Igor Araujo from Team Carwin take on Colton Smith from Team Nelson. The show opens with drama at the house between Mike Ricci and Michael Hill because Ricci turned on him during the fight selection process last week, and Ricci says he doesn't care about it because he knew he had to beat 4 people when he came to this show, regardless of whether they were his fellow Canadian or not. Hill just responds to it and says, "I want to believe Ricci is a good guy, but he's a phony, he's a fake. Motherfucker picked a bad fucking time." All that's bleeped out, of course. We go to a training session where Shane Carwin points out the strengths and weaknesses of both Marunde and Magny, which is kind of odd since he clearly can't coach both of them in this fight. And then he points out that they each get to pick their own assistant coach to corner them. We go to fight day. Now, on a casual glance, you might have thought Bristol Marunde was doing better in the first round because he kept backing up his opponent, but Neil Magny was using that to his advantage because he had the longer reach and he wanted to counterpunch. He was letting Marunde take position in the center and come towards him, and then just jabbing away at him and tearing his face up. The only time it backfired was when Marunde went for a single leg about a minute 40 into the fight and got it, but Magny was back up with 2:45 left and didn't take any damage on the ground. The only way Marunde seems to be able to get him to the ground is whenever he throws a kick and catches it, and he just lifts up the leg and dumps Magny on his butt. But then he doesn't jump on him and do anything, and he nearly eats an upkick a couple of times in the process. So you could be fooled into thinking Marunde was doing better if you weren't paying attention, but Magny was clearly outstriking him the entire first round. The second round, it was even more obvious. He had his left hand just firing out jabs and his right hand cocked by his waist, ready to unload it at any time and just punch the shit out of his opponent. That strategy was working as Dana White starts screaming at about 2 minutes into the fight, "He stunned him! He's hurt!" Marunde catches a kick after that and jumps into the full guard, but he's just trying to save himself and really isn't doing anything from the top. And Magny gets back up with 93 seconds left, and Magny immediately gets a takedown about 10 seconds later and just continues to punish Marunde for the rest of the round. They don't even bother to go to a commercial before this announcement. Dana White goes ahead and reads the score, 2018 for Neil Magny. Then we go to the weigh-ins for the second fight of this episode, and Araujo is nervous about it and wants the towel right away before he even steps on the scale. He makes the 1 pound limit of 171. Smith makes 170. They get nose-to-nose after the weigh-ins, and this is the most drama of the entire episode because Araujo starts nodding his head, Smith starts shaking his in response, and it looks like they're Eskimo kissing because their noses keep touching. Araujo gets a little upset about this and gives him a little headbutt type move and says, "Don't fucking touch me." And Smith says, "Oh, I'm going to touch you tomorrow." Araujo's response is, "Touch me now." When we come back from break, pretty much everything for the first 20 seconds is just one long bleep, and eventually somebody explains that Araujo thinks that Smith said a bad word to him in Portuguese, which implied his mother was a whore or something to that effect. And Roy Nelson is just sitting on the benches with his teammates laughing about this, and Carwin's getting pissed that he's doing nothing whatsoever about it, and it accuses him of just sitting on the sidelines eating popcorn and peanuts. And that's pretty much what he was doing, sans the popcorn and peanuts. The second quarterfinal bout was such a lopsided affair that I don't even need to recap the entire fight to explain what happened. Araujo had nothing. I don't know what happened to him, but he was getting taken down with ease. And I'm not trying to stereotype by saying you'd think a Brazilian would have a better jiu-jitsu game than that, but Jesus Christ, Colton Smith dominated every single position, controlled the fight, was doing damage from every position he was in, so it was never in any danger of getting stood up. He just rode on him like he was riding a camel. He just totally did what he wanted to, and Araujo did nothing to stop it. It was 2 straight dominant rounds, and Dana White even referred to it afterwards as an easy fight for Colton. It pretty much was. 2018 across the board. So that's your 2 quarterfinal fights for this week of The Ultimate Fighter. Next week, we get to see Ricci and Hill settle the All-Canadian War, and then John Manley will take out Joey Rivera or vice versa. Stay tuned and find out on The Ultimate Fighter Recap. I'm Stevie J from Glove Up or Shut Up at AngryMarks.com.